On today's video, we're going to be looking at some subject-verb agreement mistakes we make most of the time. Yes, everyone makes this mistake regardless of your English level, whether you're a beginner, an advanced person, or you're a professional. We tend to make this mistake every day without even knowing. English has rules that guide its process and procedures. All right, so on today's video we're going to be talking about the subject verb agreement rules. As we all know, we have this British and American English, and sometimes they tend to contradict on one rule or the other, but regardless they are still going towards the same direction. Okay, English remains English regardless if it's British or if it's American. Before we dive into the rules guiding this subject verb, let's take a look at these 10 questions on the board. So it's gonna be nice if you could get a pen and a paper to take down or note down your answers, so that at the end of this you're gonna know how many you are able to get right. Okay, so without wasting time, let's go straight to number one. So for this, I'm gonna be giving you 2 seconds each to note down your answer. So let's begin. Number one, she dash home every day. Okay, my answer is she walks home every day. Number two, most employees dash getting a promotion. Most employees are getting a promotion. Number three, some ice cubes dash in the freezer. For me, some ice cubes are in the freezer, so I go for are. Number four, some of his sadness practically dash tangible. Some of his sadness practically dash tangible. We have feels, we have feel. So what do you think the answer will be? For me, I think the answer is feels. And number five, Alex and his friends. Alex and his friends dash here. For me, Alex and his friends are here, so I go for are. Number six, either Ben or his brother. Either Ben or his brother dash the building. For me, either Ben or his brother owns the building. I go for owns the building. Okay. Number seven, neither Ben or his brothers dash the building. Neither Ben or his brothers dash the building. What's your answer? Own the building. Okay. Number eight, economics dash her favorite subject. Economics dash her favorite subject. What's your answer? For me, economics is her favorite subject, so I go for is. Number nine, they dash my gloves. What's your answer? They are my gloves, so I go for are. Okay. And number 10, which is the last on the list, this group dash responsible for orderliness. This group dash responsible for orderliness. What's your answer? For me, this group is responsible for orderliness, so I go for is. All right, so now let's explain why every of this is what it is. Welcome back. So Rule number 1 states that the subject and the verb must always agree in numbers. Yes, this implies that if you have a singular subject, you should equally have a singular verb. If you have a singular subject, your verb should equally be singular verb. Okay, and it also states that singular verbs always carries x at the end. For example, you have goes, comes, cleans, runs, and all that. Okay, for example, I have Eze goes to school. Eze goes to school. Eze is the subject, goes is the verb. You see how it is compatible, right? Or you can say she comes to clean every morning. She is the subject, comes is the verb, and every morning. All right, so that is the first rule. Okay, let's take a look at the board, what we have here. For instance, like I said, we have walks and walk. All right, so we have she dash home every day. She dash home every day. She is just the subject pronoun. All right, and what should we go for? If you say she walk home every day, it's not that perfect. She walks home every day. Like I said, according to the rules, the singular verb always carries x at the end. So that's why we have this right here. And again, we have another one here, which is a number 4. Okay, let's see. Some of his sadness practically dash tangible. Okay, so we're talking about his sadness, like one single person, so it equally works with the feels. All right, so some of his sadness practically feels tangible. Did you see how compatible this, like how it is, how it matches? Okay, let's take it this way. Some of his sadness practically feel tangible. It gives it entirely a different meaning, right? Okay, so that's it. Then let's see again. We have either Ben or his brother, not brothers. Now, if you are to digest this very well, you're going to understand that they're actually talking about one person. It's either you or me. All right, you or me. This is brother, not brothers like we have here. We have either Ben or his brother, either me or you. Is still on the singular level. So either Ben or his brother dash the building, owns the building. If I say either Ben or his brother own the building, it's kind of not balanced. But when I say either Ben or his brother owns the building, it rhymes very well. Okay, so that's rule number 1. Rule number 2, it states that if 2 or more subjects are joined by the word and, they are considered plural, and for that reason they are going to be carrying plural verb. Do you understand that? Okay, if we have, for instance, Jack, James, and John, do you understand that? We're now talking about 3 people here. 3 persons are there. All right, James, Peter, and Paul. Do you understand? The and is connecting the 3 of them together. We term them as plural, and it's going to go with plural verb. That's rule number 2. So let's take a look at the board. Number 5, we have Alex and his friends. Okay, now looking at this, we're talking about friends here, not friend, not one person. We're talking about friends. So I could call Ada, Sharon, Esther, and all of the stuff friends that is put together. Okay, so now I have Alex and his friends dash here. So as you can see, this is already considered a plural subject, so it's now going to have a plural verb. Okay, so that's why we have Alex and his friends are here. Okay, so that's that. Number 3 rule states that indefinite pronouns are considered singular, and for that reason it should take singular verb. Talking about indefinite pronouns, we have what we call definite and indefinite. When you talk about something being definite, it is specific, like it numbers, it tells you the exact specific amount of something. When we're talking about indefinite, it is a whole put together. All right, so it doesn't give you a specific number or amount of something. For instance, when you talk about indefinite pronouns, you're talking about everyone, everybody, everywhere, everything, both, much, enough. What are they? Either, neither, both. For example, I have, let's say, everything comes back eventually. Everything comes. The X is there. Okay, I can equally say everyone walks to school. Everyone walks to school. As you can see, it still has that S, so it is being considered singular in as much as it's a whole put together, but it is being considered singular. So the verb comes singular as well. Rule number 4, when a collective noun is a subject in a sentence, it is considered singular, and for that reason the verb is going to be singular. When we talk about collective noun, just like I mentioned earlier in indefinite pronouns, collective, collection, like gathered together. Collective nouns, for instance, you have them as group, committee, family, what are they? Like a whole together. All right, so for instance, on the board here we have group. We're talking about group, it's talking about lots of people, like mixture of people, not just one person. Group, okay, a group is made up of more than one person. Okay, it could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 4, it could be 5. A group, a whole put together. All right, so I have this number 10. This group dash responsible for orderliness. Okay, if this group was to be based on rates based on the people involved, you know, it is plural. But because this rule states that if a collective noun is a subject, we talk about collective noun, we're talking about groups, community, family, these groups that are considered one when put together, these are collective nouns. So for that reason, because the rule states that if a collective noun is subject of a sentence, it is considered singular, and for that reason it should go with a singular verb. That is the case for number 10. So we have this group is responsible for orderliness. You can create a group and say this group is for this group is. So when you now add groups, it now becomes plural. But provided there is no X, there is no S in the group here, it is termed singular subject. All right, as we all know, there are some nouns that usually end with X. For instance, we have them in subjects. We equally have them in some ways, like we have news, we have measles, we have what are they? Okay, we have one on the board. Okay, we have economics. All right, so these words, for the fact that they ends with X, doesn't mean there are plurals. So rule number 5 states that those nouns that ends with X, that if they are the subject of a sentence, they are considered singular. Do you understand? Those nouns that are being considered subject of a sentence that ends with X are still considered singular. So let's look at this number 8 right here. We take away X, we have economic. All right, it makes for entirely new meaning. For instance, you have news. If you take away the S, you have new. Entirely, it has changed to a new meaning. Economics dash her favorite subject. If this was to be plural, we're supposed to go with are, okay, but economics is just a subject on its own, so it goes with is. That's why we have is right here. Rule number 6, it states that if a unit of measurement is a subject of a sentence, it is considered singular, and for that reason the verb is going to be singular. We're talking about this singular, don't forget the verb comes with x at the end, okay? If you're looking at this is singular and this is plural, okay? So let's proceed. We have units of measurement for time, money, weight, distance, all right? So if the unit of any of these measurements is the subject of a sentence, it is considered singular, and for that reason it's going to be going with a singular verb. Now, rule number 7, it states that for a sentence that begins with there or here, the verb will often come before the subject. So if this happens, the subject determines if the verb is singular or plural. For example, I have, there are 7 tubers of yam. Okay, there are 7 tubers of yam. See, I'm not talking about 1 yam, I'm talking about 7 tubers of yam. Okay, let's take a look at the board if we have an example like that. Okay, I have that number 9. Now I have gloves. This is my subject right here, okay? But because this sentence started with dear, okay, so I'm going to be considering this before this, okay? So let's see, there is my gloves. No, there are my gloves. Okay, so they are my gloves. All right, so that's what I'm trying to say here. So this rule number 7 states that if a sentence is to begin with this or with this, usually the verb will come first before the subject. Then if this happens, before you decide which verb, if the verb is going to be singular or plural, you should consider the subject if it is singular or plural, okay? So just like we have here, this is plural, so this verb automatically will be plural. And if this happens to be singular, the verb right here will be singular. Okay, for instance, I say there is a cat. I'm talking about a cat, just one cat. There is a cat on the table. All right, so that's what number 7 implies. Rule number 8, some countable nouns only have plural form, and for that reason they only take plural verb. Proceeds, earrings, goes, and others. Okay, so they always have plural form, and for that reason they only take plural verb. If I choose to say this is my earrings, it doesn't sound put together, but when I say these are my earrings, it goes perfectly compatible, right? And I'm going to be stopping at number 8 for today, and I hope you got something out of it. Thank you for watching, and please, if you're seeing me for the first time, don't make it to last. Subscribe to the channel and let's do this together. Thank you for watching. See you on my next video, and bye for now.